And I think we are live. I see a word
Yay!
that I see live there. So I'm going to assume everybody can see us right now. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Wednesday afternoon, and we are back for our favorite time of the second, 2 times of the month now. Favorite
Yep.
time of the month. It's our breast sleeping Q&A, and I am here with my favorite co-host, Rebecca Michi. She is a sleep consultant, and I am a breastfeeding expert. And we are here to answer your questions as always. So welcome everyone, and welcome Rebecca.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing okay today. I'm doing okay. Looking forward to doing this with you again.
Yes, definitely.
Our last live stream was just so wonderful. I mean, I felt like, it was such a great conversation that we had, and we had so many great comments from everybody and such great questions. And I was like, oh, that was so fun. I can't wait to do it again. So I'm happy we're back, and it is August, unbelievably so.
Yep.
And it is actually, the day after World Breastfeeding Week. So it has been a very, very busy week here in my home. As you can imagine, it is like Christmas time at the Criso household when we do World Breastfeeding Week, and this year especially so. Hi, everyone. Everyone's jumping in. We're going to give everybody a few minutes to get in before we get started. But yeah, it was a crazy week. There were so many. I did a ton of interviews last week. I did a radio tour on Wednesday and literally did 12 interviews in 4 hours on the radio. So from 8 a.m. till noon, 12 interviews. I've never done that before.
That's crazy.
It was crazy. It was great. I was like all over the country. It was funny because it was like I was jumping from one area of the country to the next. Now we're going to go live in Idaho, and now we're going to go live in Salt Lake City. And
Amazing.
It's amazing. They actually have services that link you in and set you up for that when you have to do a bunch of them together. So
great.
It was great. And I was here doing a live stream. Jamie was over on Thursday and Friday, stayed over the house, and we did a live stream together with Byram Healthcare and talked all about how to get your breast pumped through insurance. So there's just been a lot of conversation this week. Hi, everyone. But so excited to be back. And we are here with Love to Dream. And I just saw them pop up and say hello. So hello, everyone at Love to Dream. They are our partners and sponsors of the show today. They're the people that make all of this possible so that we can come to you and answer your questions and spend time with all of you. And of course, give you awesome prizes, which of course we have today as well. So, Rebecca, I'm going to just let everybody know a little bit about myself, and then I want you to introduce yourself briefly. We have new people every single time. Obviously, moms get pregnant and they're expecting, and they're new to all of this every single day. So we always know we have new people jumping in. And if you're new and you're here today, I want you to just shout out and say, yes, I'm new. Tell us you're new, because we always want to give you the warmest welcome. You are here in our community now, and we are happy to have you. So I'm Shari Criso. I'm a registered nurse, a certified nurse midwife, and an international board certified lactation consultant. And I've been taking care of moms and babies for, I'm going to just say, over 25 years, because we're going to stop there. I've decided, Rebecca, this year, over 25 years, it's enough, right? I've earned the right at that point, right? It's enough. So that's what we're going to say from now on. Over 25 years, yes. I started when I was about 4. But I'm just, one of those people that knew what I wanted to do early in life. I'm also a mom of a 16-year-old and 14-year-old daughters. Yes, and I had them very young.
I'm just doing the math now.
Don't do the math. Just keep talking. Okay. So yes, and I was able to exclusively breastfeed both of my children, but not without struggle, not without difficulty. And even though I was delivering babies at the time, and I was working with moms and in the hospital and home, doing everything with them, I still struggled with breastfeeding and lacked some of the knowledge, the essential knowledge, basic knowledge that would have made things so much easier for me. And really, that was the eye-opener for me deciding to focus my career and my direction and my education towards breastfeeding and supporting breastfeeding, because we really need it. We really, really need it. And I know you need it. So that's what I'm here to do. All right. And one more thing before we say that, Rebecca, I Everybody's been asking me. Everybody knows I'm creating a new platform. We're going to have a new membership site that's launching very soon. It can't happen soon enough. I'm so excited. Everything's going to be so much easier to access. But to start off with, I want you all to be able to access the essential first class, which is the Simply Breastfeeding class, and that's free. Free. I'm talking like completely no strings attached, all free. And you guys can do that. And there's a link to actually do that I will give you in a few minutes, as well as links. What, Joe? Ready. It's ready. Okay. So yeah, if you guys want to access all the links that we're going to give you today, including Rebecca's Sleep Academy, the class, my private Facebook group, and of course, all the amazing Love to Dream products, as well as to enter to win, I want you to type the words new baby right now. Okay. Type the words new baby. All right. And then let me have Rebecca. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Rebecca.
Hey, so I'm Rebecca Michi, children's sleep consultant and author. I am based in Seattle, though I work with families all over the planet. And I'm a gentle, no cry sleep consultant. I'm not using cried out techniques when I'm working with families. In fact, a lot of the times we're not even doing any sleep training. There's so much that we can do to get better sleep with little tweaks and changes. Completely realistic when it comes to sleep, which I think a lot of sleep consultants are not. Humans wake, they are supposed to wake. And so I am a little different than other sleep consultants. What Shari was saying when she introduced herself about how she was able to exclusively breastfeed, that it was a struggle. I wasn't able to exclusively breastfeed. And yes, it was a struggle as well. And I think that it's the things that you think are completely natural and normal. Breastfeeding, it's kept the human race going for a really, really long time. So it should be easy. And then sleep. Hey, it's sleep. We all do it. We all love it. It should be easy. And those two things, you just think, they're so natural. They should be so easy, and they're not. They really may not be easy at all. And we are here to help you, to guide you to making both these two big, huge things just a little bit easier. We're not here to wave a magic wand, though we wish we could, and just sort of fix everything, but just with lots of little tweaks and tips. That's what we're here to help you with, and to help you on your journey to getting some better sleep and reaching your breastfeeding goals.
Yeah, well said, Rebecca. I think that's been the theme of our streams lately, and really the underlying message that we always want to get out, which is we're not going to be able to fix everything, but we can make it just easier with tips, good advice, good knowledge, being able to identify the normal. And being able to identify normal when it comes to breastfeeding and when it comes to sleep are probably one of the most important things that you can figure out early on, or be grounded in. And because when you're grounded in what's normal, it relieves so much of the anxiety and the stress and the worry, and allows you and your child to both just be with the experience of what's happening without all the panic that could go into it. And actually, it's the panic that can create the issues. And we've talked about this so many times before, where there's really nothing wrong. It's just a variation of what's normal with the child. And we create an issue where we didn't have one to begin with. So it's always been our mission. I know, and that's why I love working with Rebecca, because we kind of have that same philosophy, and it's really the best way to approach this. So love doing this with you. So let's just for a minute. Did everybody type new baby? Here's a little scrolling. Why is it saying one? Type new baby. Type new baby now. Okay, I don't know what that's a typo. Type the word new baby now. You'll get all of the links for today. Okay, so you don't have to worry. Again, no worry. This is a stress-free zone. Okay, yeah, there you go. Type new baby. All right, so first of all, let's just talk about Love to Dream for a minute, because that's our prize today, all right? And the Love to Dream is a brand and products and people that I've been working with, and so has Rebecca, for a long time now. And it's one of those products that really is a tool. And we always work with products that really start to help to solve one of the an issue that a mom might be having, dads might be having, babies are having, that makes things easier when it comes to sleeping and breastfeeding. And Love to Dream swaddle blankets really do that. And as you can see from just looking at the swaddle up, okay, it's very different type of swaddle. And hands are up in an up position that is much more natural to what their regular sleep position would be, instead of having their arms bound down to their sides. And I think in a little while we can talk about swaddling and how that helps, but really what we're talking about is, keeping the hands where they're not flailing all around or suppressing that moro or startle reflex, so babies don't keep waking themselves up. That does not mean that they're not going to wake up. And I think that's a really good distinction, is that it's not that they're not going to wake up, it's that they're not going to keep waking up, and that they can get a little bit more sleep without startling themselves awake, which is just even a little bit more will make a big difference. Who would like to have just a little bit more or a little bit of a longer stretch?
Me.
And I don't think I could swaddle my 14-year-old, but she doesn't need it. She sleeps till noon now.
Oh gosh, yeah.
But how many of you guys would love to just get a little bit more sleep in between, even though we're not telling you you're going to sleep through the night with those little ones, all right? But those hands up are going to make a difference. It allows baby to bring hands to face, to self-soothe. It also will give you those cues, those feeding cues that are so important when baby starts to not wake up, but starts to move and smack lips and bring hands to mouth. Those are signs that you don't want to ignore in your baby. They're telling you that they need to eat. And so with their hands up here, it's just one of those additional benefits of the Love to Dream Swaddle Up, that it allows you to see all those things. And so that's our prize for today. We're going to be giving away the Swaddle Up, choice of Swaddle Up, or the 50/50. We'll be giving away 2 here from people watching the live stream. You have to click the link that's in this post or type the word baby and click through to enter. And I want you to comment here. Tell me what you love about Love to Dream products, if you're using them, or if you want to, tell me why and what, and make sure you love this post, okay? Those are the 3 things. It's all described to you in the link. I took care of all of it today. Again, stress-free. That is the topic. That is the mantra for today. Okay.
Yeah.
Stress-free. So, Rebecca, should we start with some questions?
Yes, sounds good.
Let's do some questions. All right, we've got questions, as always. Do we do a sleep question or a breastfeeding question? Which one would you like?
Let's start with sleep.
Let's start with sleep. You got it. All right. So first sleep question came in from Kathy. Interesting question. I don't know if we've ever answered this before. Kathy said, I'd like to know how to break the very sound sleep of a child that does not wake on their own to use the bathroom.
How old is she?
She didn't say, but maybe you can just give us some time frames. She is 99% potty trained, but she has had several accidents over the past few weeks. She must be in the act of getting up because the wetness is on the edge of the bed.
Bless her.
Oh, she's trying. She's trying.
Yeah, bless her. So when we're potty training, and that can be really young, it can be 3 years old, it can be however old. We generally get started with during the day. And oftentimes the nighttime can come much, much later. And the reason that this is because when we're asleep, we produce a hormone that means that we don't produce as much urine. That water, that fluid is kind of reabsorbed back into our system. And so this hormone is not beginning to be produced until normally between 3 and 5 years old. Between there, that's when it will begin to be produced, and that happens when we're sleeping. So if your child has not begun to produce this hormone, they're just going to continue to produce as much urine during the night as kind of they do during the day, even though they're not drinking as much. They'll still produce urine. And depending on what kind of sleeper they are, will depend on whether they wake and need to go, or whether they'll kind of be such super drowsy, super sleepy, and just either one, sleep through it, or potentially what your daughter is doing is that she's kind of waking up so late, potentially when she's beginning to go. That's what's waking her up, is when she's beginning to go. And then she's just like, as you said, she's right on the edge of the bed. So it's not necessarily an issue because it's completely normal. So a couple of things that you can do. One of them is to either have her in like a nighttime pull-up or a nighttime diaper, because this is pretty normal, until she begins to either sleep a little bit differently and wake earlier. And just because she's in that nighttime pull-up or diaper does not mean that she's just going to do it, because you can be talking about how you want her to go potty during the night as well. Or you can wake her. A lot of times families will literally pick up their kiddos before the parents go to bed and take them to the bathroom and sit them on the toilet. And even if they're kind of half asleep, that may do it as well. That may be enough. But there are also kind of bedwetting alarms, but I think that would be, if you're just kind of starting this, that's just far too extreme. That would be way, way, way down the line. And to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of those anyway. So either you seeing if you taking her before you go to bed, that helps, or maybe just putting her in a nighttime diaper or a pull-up will actually be a really good fit until she begins to produce this hormone and is not peeing so much through the night. Yeah.
Absolutely. No, I think that, again, it's about not rushing, and it's that last piece when they're asleep that they have a hard time managing. That could take a while. I know with my children, they were potty trained, like she's saying, 99% potty trained, but that nighttime, they still don't have that piece of it that's going to wake them.
Yeah, it can come quite a bit later. It really can. If you have a child who's potty trained, maybe before 3 years old, it could be over a year before that then comes for the nighttime. And that's normal. So it's not really an issue. It's more of managing. How are you going to manage that and figuring out what's going to best work for you? Absolutely. And definitely getting, a really good tip for anybody, whether you have an infant or you're potty training or you have a elementary school child, is to do the double sheet. So you have your waterproof sheet, your normal sheet, and then another waterproof sheet, and then another normal sheet. So if anybody pees through the night or they throw up or whatever, you need to change those covers. You're not then having to look for your clean sheets in the middle of the night. You can just whip off that top sheet, the waterproof sheet, and you're already there, got the clean sheets already on the bed. And everybody should do that.
And if you are expecting right now with your first and you've never gone through the experience of changing a crib sheet in the middle of the night, especially now that the cribs don't drop down.
Yeah. You've got to take the mattress out. You have to take.
When my kids were younger, of course, we had beds that drop down. They don't do that anymore. But even with that, it was difficult to change that sheet. You need to take it out because it's so fitted well into the crib. We want it to be safe where there's no spaces, but it's not an easy process. So I love that. I'd probably have like 4 layers on the mattress so I can keep ripping them off all month.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, no, I did that right until my kids were probably like in 4th grade. We did that because if somebody's sick during the night, then I don't want to have to be trying to find a clean sheet and putting it on the bed. And
probably one of the best tips for the day. Okay, multiple layers of sheets and mattress protectors. Don't forget the mattress protector, or you will get every one of the sheets wet and dirty.
Exactly. Yeah, you need that layer in between.
You need layers in between. Very good. Thank you, Rebecca. Perfect. Yes. And Kathy's here. She said thank you.
Oh, great.
Excellent. All right, let's do a breastfeeding question. And this question came in from Linda. Linda said, sorry in advance for the long post question. Never apologize. It's all okay. Sometimes it's good to have more information. Okay? Her little one is 13 months and she is wanting to start weaning off breastfeeding due to the upcoming travel commitments with work that she has. I'm extremely proud to have made it 13 months, as you should be proud. But I am not finding a lot of guidance on the best way to wean the baby off the breast. Currently, we've gotten down to only breastfeeding in the morning and before bed. However, I started trying to wean the bedtime feeding. For the last 3 nights, my little one has woken up screaming between 12 and 2 a.m. And the only way I've been able to get her to settle and go back to sleep is by breastfeeding. We're having to use only sippy cups at daycare, so I have eliminated bottles, but I'm wondering if I should go back to the bottle with milk at night and then have that in the mornings. What advice do you have for weaning off the breast? Do I need to warm the milk for the AM, PM feedings? Thank you in advance for your guidance. So a couple questions here. And, there's never just one answer to all of this. And when I'm answering, it's not like, okay, there's like the research rule on exactly how to do this. Remember, this is all just, sometimes just good experience advice, experience from working with lots of people, experience from my own personal experience. And then you need to take all that and see what works for your child, because children are different. So I'm just going to give you a few tips that I can think of reading your question. Weaning's always a process. It's not an event. It's sort of like, it's happening over time. I don't know what the word is right now, but it's not like one day you wean and it's done, and it shouldn't be, okay? But the fact that you've gotten it down to that nighttime and early morning feeding is exactly what I would have advised you to do, which is, try to wean down. Those are the 2 feedings that I think are the hardest for them to give up. During the night or right before bed if they're sleeping through the night, and then morning. And I know with my own children, I had weaned down slowly on every feeding till I got to those last 2. Depending on the age of your child, your child is 13 months old. You've stopped giving bottles because of sippy cups at daycare. However, if there's no other solution that you can come up with to change this, using the bottle in the morning or the night for a few more months is not a big deal, okay? Somehow we've gotten all these rules in our mind, like don't go back to the bottle, you can't use it. If that's what works, and I know for my children, it is what worked. It's the way that I was able to wean them off of the breast because they still wanted that sucking feeling. And a lot of this has to do not just with receiving the food. As you can see, they're not wanting to take it out of a cup. It's not because they're super starving. It's that comfort that they get from sucking, where you can hold them and they can suck on the bottle. If that's what works, I promise you they will not stay on the bottle forever, but it's a great transition tool. I find it's a great transition tool, especially because someone else can do that. Your partner can actually give the bottle. So that means that 1, you can start transitioning where it's not mommy for those feedings. 2, when you're gone and you're, traveling for work, it's an option that anybody can do, okay? Anybody, whoever's watching your child. So that's one way. If you don't want to go the bottle route, then what I would recommend is that, it's going to be really hard, especially with a 13-month-old. You can't reason with them. It's not like you're not really having a conversation where they understand, like, now we're not doing this. And during the day, it may be easier because you can distract them with other things, go out, they're not thinking about it, they're eating other foods. But going to bed and early morning, they want that time with you. And so maybe what you need to do is substitute with your partner and let your partner get up, because he can't nurse her. And so there's no option. He can hug her, cuddle her, love her, feed her, do whatever he wants with her without being able to breastfeed her. And there is no option. And so she will find another way to soothe herself or get her comfort from him. She has no other choice. And so that may be the best way to start weaning those feedings, is just letting him get up with her for a short time. What you said here about, the last 3 nights, baby got up screaming. And it may happen the first night where she's screaming for you, but I would continue another night with your partner, somebody holding her, comforting her, and not being able to breastfeed. It will literally start to two things. 1, will start to break that feeling of, she'll start to forget. They do forget. Okay, she'll start to forget and start to associate those nighttime wakings, or maybe not even do it at all. If she's not getting what she wants, she may just stop. But she won't feel like you've just abandoned her. Somebody is there with her that she loves as well. The other thing that it's going to do is, over a few days or nights of that, you're going to start to dry up. And so that's the sure way to help hopefully stop those feedings, is start eliminating them as much as you can, and the milk starts to dry up. And when this happens, it's a process called involution. And that involution of the breast causes the milk to start to taste salty. I don't know if you all know this. Okay, breast milk is extremely sweet. It's like candy. It's got 10 times the milk sugar in it of lactose than cow's milk. So it's very sweet. And if you guys have tasted it, which you all should try it and see what it tastes like, it's very sweet. But as the breast starts to dry up, as you start to wean, the milk actually, the sodium level starts to rise. It's what creates the whole process. And it actually helps. So by not nursing, you help yourself to not nurse, because now the baby goes on and the milk just doesn't taste good anymore. And that actually really helps. So it's about getting over that hump. Make sense?
I did not know that about the saltiness.
Yeah, and it's actually one of the reasons why some children will have, if they're not really nursing on one side, if the breast is starting to, like if you've had mastitis on one side, you've become too engorged, the breast hasn't been drained enough, and that whole involution process starts, on one side, because it's independent.
I see. Yeah.
One side will produce and the other won't, and you'll hear this all the time, right? Or you'll see that at one point after a situation like that, the baby just completely will not take the other breast and only eats on one side, or if you've been favoring one side because it's easier to latch, and now the baby just won't take the other side. Try what I'm saying. Taste the milk on each breast. Because one may be sweet and one may be salty, and that may be the reason why the baby's rejecting it.
So if then that happened, you'd had mastitis and you'd kind of got that cleared up, but baby had not been feeding on there, but you were still then wanting to get back to feeding on both sides, would pumping from that one side then kind of help kick things off again? Sometimes. Okay.
Sometimes you could try, and depending on how early in the process it happens, pumping a lot on the other side, obviously, it's actually relactation at that point.
Okay.
It's not just about increasing your supply back up. You've had a decrease in supply, but now there's been a process where the breast is actually changing. And so you can relactate, just like after months of not nursing, moms can get their milk supply back. But it's not a given. It's not, and you can try. I know, and I'm speaking from experience. I have to tell you, when I said earlier in the show, when I said I struggled with breastfeeding a lot, of like what I just said. I had no knowledge of this. Even though I was delivering babies, I had no knowledge of what I just said. And so early on, I struggled with sore nipples and I struggled with difficult latch. I had thrush for 2 months. I mean, there was so much happening with my first baby. And somehow I had more difficulty latching on my left side. I also made less milk on my left side just from the beginning because of just my body. That's the way it works. And because of that, I kept favoring the right. And by favoring the right, I didn't realize it was making the problem more difficult, because after a certain point, the left side started to change and she just refused to take it. And one day I just decided, let me taste the milk. And it was salty. And I totally got it at that point. I was like, oh, okay, it changes. And yes, now I know that there's a whole process the breast goes through. Salty. All right. But that's also something you can use to your advantage when you're talking about weaning. Yeah. Right. It's an advantage, and it's the body's so smart. Our bodies are so smart, right? Like, why is it like that? Well, it's nature and helping you along with the process. So you start the process, nature helps with the process. It's like a big feedback loop, and knowing, and again, just like we said, knowing the normal, right?
Yeah.
Knowing the normal will actually help you do this.
So if she was feeding twice a day, how long would it take for it to start getting that kind of salty?
Everybody's
for that to happen. Okay.
Everybody's different. And I think that if you're feeding twice a day, that's not weaning. If you're regularly, your body will adjust to the number of feedings that you want it to do. So say she's going back to work early, like say she's going back to work and it's only 6 months into the whole process. And there's lots of moms who do this, where she's like, I don't want to pump at work. Pumping's not working for me. I'm going to do a combination feeding. I'm going to supplement during the day, and then I'm going to nurse at night, and I'm going to continue to breastfeed for as long as I want, but just those 2 feedings, and they're 12 hours apart.
Mm-hmm.
Can she do that? Yes. Does it mean that she's completely started drying up her milk and involuted? No, it doesn't mean that. It means that she'll dry up the milk for the times when she's asking for milk, she'll still have it.
Yeah.
And again, that's not everybody. Some moms can't get away with that. You know,
Mm-hmm.
not feeding all day doesn't mean that they can actually produce milk when they want to. So you got to be very, very careful with this. It should be a slow process. Make sure your body's adapting well to the whole thing. But these are all important things to know. Mm-hmm. Yes, somebody said, doesn't that happen during menstruation as well? The milk gets salty. Not that I'm aware of, Leslie. I'm not aware that it's happening during menstruation. It could be. Again, everybody's body is different. It may taste a little different, but not the saltiness that I'm talking about. Not the saltiness or the saltiness on one side versus the other that I'm talking about. Although menstruation does decrease supply for some moms slightly, it has to do with the hormone levels. And it's temporary. That's the other difference. You know, when we're talking about can be permanent unless you really actively work on getting it back. With menstruation, it's temporary, and normally after your period's done, the milk just comes back the way it's supposed to. So,
thank goodness.
Very good. How about a video?
Yay!
Let's play a video. Okay, so first of all, I want to show you guys all. Oh, I didn't pull it up. Hold on one second. Let me do this. Hold on. I'm gonna get it. I'm going to pull up a video of the Simply Breastfeeding trailer. Okay, I want to show you all the trailer. Hold on. Why is it not? That's not it. This is it. Sorry, I should have been more prepared. Okay. Should have been more prepared here. Okay, let's try this one.
Has Shari disappeared again? Just suddenly realized, oh, Shari's not moving. I think this happened last week. Whenever we did this, Shari disappeared when she tried to do a video. It's a bit weird. Okay, so I think it's just me. Just let me know if it's just me, because I'm here kind of talking away. So while Shari is trying to sort everything out, I will answer one of a sleepy question that came in here. So just bear with me just a second.
I think I'm back.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Oh, you're back.
I'm back. I'm sorry. You know what happened? My entire Google Chrome just crashed.
Oh no. Oh, I can imagine the panic.
What?
I can imagine the panic.
You know what? I did pretty good this time. We had the same thing happen last time.
That's what I was saying. And I was just,
you know,
I was listening to you and I'm like,
all of a sudden,
you're not talking. Oh, it's me.
I think I'm frozen. Okay. Speaking of Frozen, I'm going to see Frozen on Broadway tomorrow.
Really?
What is that? What? Oh my God. Is there like a...
I think aliens are trying to talk to us. I don't know what
that was. All right, I closed some windows. I don't know what that was. That was cool though, wasn't it? That was actually cool. All right, I'm going to keep trying to pull up this video. Maybe I shouldn't, but I will try. Hold on one second.
I'll give it one more try.
One more try. If I get thrown off, I'll come back and you'll answer the questions while I'm gone. Hold on. All right, so let's pull this back in. Okay, now, ready? I think I got it. This is a very short trailer for Simply Breastfeeding. You guys, it's all available for you to watch free right now. It's in the link. When you type the word new baby here in the chat, it's going to give you links to this, and then you'll be able to see the class. All right. So Rebecca's crossing her fingers. I'm crossing my fingers too. I want you all to cross your fingers at home. Here we go. Bringing this in.
Breastfeeding is something that is a learned skill. Wanting to have a healthy, happy baby, that's your instinct. Somehow with breastfeeding, we wing it. We don't take a class, we don't get ready for it, and think that it's just going to come to us somehow.
Something that we keep turning back to, and it's been invaluable. We just can't say enough how much it's helped us.
There are many different positions in which you can nurse your baby. Let's go to the video and take a look at how this looks on a real baby. Day one of your baby's life, your baby's stomach is about the size of a thimble. What that looks like is this little marble right here. Can you see? All right, that's how big the baby's stomach is. And they can't stretch it any bigger than this.
I probably would have given up a few weeks after my baby was born if it wasn't for the Simply Breastfeeding class.
How well prepared your body is to feed is one of the most important things that I can teach you.
I'm so proud of myself that that worked and that the video worked and that the sound worked and that we stuck with it. So there's the Simply Breastfeeding class. Anybody in the audience, did you guys watch this class? Many of you have. I know you have. I want to hear from you if you've watched it, if it helped you. I get messages all the time from people saying that they watched the class and it made a huge difference. And it's why we have created this for free. It will be free. Okay, that's my promise to you, is that I will make this class for free. Anybody can watch it regardless of where you are in the world, regardless of your ability to pay or not pay. Every mom deserves to have this good information. Every mom deserves the chance to breastfeed their baby if they want to. And so that is my mission for myself and for all of you. Okay, so go ahead and click the link and you'll be able to get access directly to it. All right.
And I just want to comment that your hair is amazing.
Do you want to know? That's my natural hair, and it changed so much after I had the kids and as I got older. And it's funny because it got straighter and straighter. Even there, it was like a little bit easier at that point. But for some of you, you know that I was pregnant and I lost twins about 8 years ago. And then after that, my hair just started to really go straighter. And now it's sort of in that in between. So it's just easier to do it straight than it is to do it curly, because it doesn't have that. That used to be great. I mean, I didn't appreciate it till I was much older, but then I really embraced it. I really embraced it.
Yeah.
Hair. The video is of me with curly hair, but you'll recognize me anyway. It's me all the same.
Oh yeah.
It's me all the same. All right, so I think we're up to a sleep question. I think I have the link here for anybody too. Let me just, everything got shut down. So this is the link to be able to see all the stuff from today. That's it right there, right? And that's also in the post so that you'll be able to get that. Remember, you need to do that in order to enter to win, and it'll also give you all the links as well. They're saying your sound is distorted, but it sounds fine to me, so I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay. All right. Well, how about we do a sleep question?
Yes, sounds good.
Okay. The next question is sleep, and it came in from Josette. Okay. Josette said she's on baby number 3, and with her previous, they slept better when they were in bed with her. She nursed both children. What are your views, safe, unsafe, on co-sleeping or the use of a DACA tot?
Okay. So the American Academy of Pediatrics does suggest not sharing a sleep surface with your child just because of safety. But it's now also beginning to admit that people are doing this. And if you are going to do this, you should do this safely. And so there are things that you can do to make it safe. Making sure that there's no gaps around the bed, making sure that your child just does not fall out, making sure there are no pillows and covers that they can get squished in, making sure if you have long hair that's tied back, that you don't have any sort of long cords or anything on anything that you're wearing, that the sleep surface is firm, and that was probably one of the most important. So no Tempur-Pedic mattresses, because that just kind of envelopes, it just sort of, you sink into that. So a really firm sleep surface. I don't think that a DACA tot would be great for bed sharing, just because it's kind of something else in the bed. And I don't think you really need to have that if you are bed sharing. If you're bed sharing, chances are your child is going to kind of be at breast height, and that's kind of where their head is. So it's super easy to breastfeed. That's really kind of that. And when studies that have been done that show a mother and their infant sleeping together, the mother kind of goes around the infant and kind of cocoons the infant. And it's actually really interesting to see in babies at that height, so you can just easily latch on, super easy to do. You just really want to research, making that space safe, and really put a lot of emphasis on that as you're getting ready in your late stages of pregnancy. Or if you have your child and you were not even planning on doing any bed sharing whatsoever, oftentimes it happens just because you're up feeding during the night and you fall asleep. And so making sure that the space is safe, even if you had no intention of doing any bed sharing, because if you do end up just falling asleep there, at least then the space is safe. It's also better to fall asleep in your bed sharing, than it is like if you're sat on a couch or on a recliner or something like that, and you go and sit there because you think that that's going to keep you awake. When you're that tired, it's probably not. And that's far riskier for your child to be sleeping there, even on you, than it is in a bed. So you want to make sure you're not drinking, you're not taking any medication that can affect the way that you sleep. You want to have just you and baby, so your partner is kind of the other side of you and having against a wall or a bed rail, so that it's kind of like wall, baby, you, and then your partner. But it's a very personal thing. You just want to, wherever your child is sleeping, you want to research and make sure that they are sleeping as safely as possible.
Yeah. I think it's such a good point. It's something we've talked about before. The recommendations are to not sleep with your baby in the bed, because obviously there's more safety in putting the baby in a co-sleeper or a bassinet. But when we do that and we give you that kind of advice, like just don't ever do it, then what we find is that moms are doing it anyway, and then they're just not admitting to it. They're not getting the right advice or counsel or, information. And then that's when accidents happen. And so I love that we're talking about it today. I love what you offered, Rebecca. And I think one of the most important things that Rebecca did offer is that do your research, because we didn't go over all the rules.
No, not at all.
And we're not going to right now. But what I want you to do is, if you do decide that that's what you're doing, or you keep falling asleep like that, and typically, very often, it's not a plan. Yeah. And I'll tell moms who are breastfeeding at night, set up your bed space as if the baby is sleeping with you. So that way, when you fall asleep and the baby is with you in bed and you've fallen asleep, it was not, you did not have this dangerous situation. Okay, so you're talking about all the things that we just said, plus more. Okay, loose clothing. I mean, there's all kinds of things you want to avoid, things that you may not have thought about. Like Rebecca said when she mentioned, tying your hair back. These are some of the hazards that babies have died from. So we want to be very, very careful. And also, if there's other children in the bed as well, they do need
pets as well.
Pets, other children, not near the baby. So do some research, and that really applies to everyone who's breastfeeding at night, right? Because it's not just about if you're doing it actively, it's about if you do it without even knowing it. We fall asleep, we're exhausted. So I think it's
most people who end up bed sharing have no intention of bed sharing. Yeah, that's absolutely none.
Yeah, they really don't. And we want to just plan for any kind of safety is the number one thing that we need to be doing, making sure our babies are safe. They are counting on us to do that. And sometimes when we take the approach, I would never do that, those are the ones that it happens to. If you think about the moms who say, that would never happen to me, don't actually prepare for the times when it could, and so it's really important to always be open that, things happen and can be happening. So Great. Fantastic. All right. I want to get some hearts going across the screen. I want to see hearts and love from everybody right now. You've answered a bunch of questions. We're going to keep going. We still have a few more to answer. You guys have some great questions in here. We will capture these, okay? And then we will come back and do more. But I want to, oh, and I see a question here. Yeah, there's some really good ones being posted that I want to answer as well. I'm going to answer one that's here in the, that was submitted, and then I'll try to answer another one that's here in the chat. But let's do one breastfeeding question here, and let's get some hearts. Do we have lots of hearts going across? Lots of hearts?
Yeah.
I'd like
Loads
to
of
have
hearts.
at least 100. I mean, come on. If we could do an hour of Q&A here and not have 100 hearts, all right, it's just about pushing. So let's get some hearts going across the screen. I still don't see enough here. I want to see more, all right? Okay, this question came in from Megan. Megan said, my baby is 5 weeks old and breastfeeding has gotten extremely painful. The skin from my nipples is peeling off and I have cracks at the base. I've been keeping them out and putting breast milk on them, using lanolin too. I'm starting to dread feeding because it hurts so bad. I don't think it's thrush. I've had that before and my baby doesn't have any signs of it. Please help. Okay, Megan. One thing that's standing out to me is that you're saying the baby is 5 weeks old and it's now the breastfeeding has gotten painful, extremely painful, okay? That you've had thrush in the past and that you don't think it's that because you've had it and the baby's not showing any signs. I'm going to put two things out there for you that I am just thinking about, okay? One is that it could be thrush, all right? It could still be thrush. However, usually we don't see the cracking that you're talking about, okay? The cracking is not typically a sign of thrush. Typically the thrush will feel like burning, painful, extremely painful nipples, pain in the breast. It doesn't mean the baby has to have any signs either, so don't just go by that. But it's not usually what we see when we talk about thrush is these cracks. So the next place I'm going in my mind with your question is that the baby, you need to have this baby evaluated for tongue and lip ties. Okay, this is how it could present. The first 5 weeks, you're more engorged, you have more milk. The baby kind of gets on the breast and goes, and it pours in. And so the sucking may not need to be so strong, and quite often it's not. Usually it's kind of flowing, and even with an uncoordinated suck, even with a difficult suck from a tongue or lip tie, you can still get the milk into the baby. Now that your breast milk has started to regulate and come down from that initial engorgement, now the baby is actually sucking on the breast, and that latch is causing those nipples to be sore and also crack. And what would make that happen 5 weeks into it? It could be, and I'm not saying it is, but it could be tethered oral tissues or lip tie or tongue tie that's causing the baby to not latch properly and cause that pain. The very first thing I would do is make an appointment with an IBCLC. Number one, go do that today. Don't wait, today, okay? Because although it's just pain, and I say just pain, the worst pain. I know what this is like, okay? Although we're not just talking about pain, we're talking about if you continue to nurse with the tethered oral tissue, with a tongue tie where the baby's actually having difficulty latching to the breast, it's also going to have difficulty expressing breast and draining the breast. And over the course of a few days, a week, over time, you're going to impact your milk supply. You're also going to be impacting how much the baby's working to get that milk. So this is like a time issue. You really need to get evaluated. So it could be just that you have, it could be just a latch that needs to be adjusted. It could be that. And it could be that there is a structural issue in the mouth that's happening. And it could be that you do have thrush and it's just presenting the way it's presenting, especially if you've had it before. Putting lanolin on the nipple, I'm going to tell you to stop doing that. Okay. I'm not a big fan of lanolin. So it's not going to help any of the things I mentioned. It's not going to help anyway. And it's not going to help to heal the nipple. So I would stop the lanolin. If you want to use a nipple cream, if it makes it feel better, then use something that's actually going to help to heal it. Like the Earth Mama natural nipple butter. That one's going to really It's got calendula in it. It's all natural. It's organic. I like organic stuff on the nipple, especially if you're putting the baby there. So go and use the Earth Mama on it if you're going to use anything. You don't really need anything. The breast milk's good as well. What you need is an evaluation, something I can't do right now. Okay, but these are some tips and some ideas I have. I would get that done right away. Yes. Let's give some love to Megan, some hearts. It's so hard when you're in pain like that. I mean, I had excruciating pain with my first baby, and I just remember feeling like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, I just don't know if I can continue. It was worse than labor. I mean, like, it hurt more than that. And now I know it didn't have to. Like, now I know that this didn't have to be the case. And that pain like that is never normal. Never normal. You know, can there be a little discomfort in the beginning? Yeah, sometimes yes. Should there be pain? Never, never, never. And so pain always needs to be addressed. And not only does pain make this whole experience horrible for you, you know, it interferes with your enjoyment of this. It interferes with bonding. It interferes with all of it. It can cause postpartum depression. It's just should not be there. But on top of it, pain inhibits the milk ejection reflex, or the letdown. And so when you're in pain nursing, it can actually stop your milk from flowing. So then we got a whole other range of problems that come. So it has to be acknowledged and it has to be addressed. And when you read from advice saying, well, you know, pain in the beginning can be normal, only when you've been doing it wrong. Yeah, then it's normal, but it's not part of breastfeeding. Pain should not be there, you know. And I don't want to say that if you have pain that something is definitely wrong. It's just something that needs to be looked at, and you need to get support. Breastfeeding should be an enjoyable experience for you.
It's worth getting it checked out. I mean, just in case, you know, if it's something, then you're nipping it in the bud, you're getting it fixed as quickly as possible. And if, you know, and if everything's great, excellent, everything's great.
Exactly. I have a video from Love to Dream that I want to show, because anybody who's new to this product doesn't really understand the difference and how easy it is to use the Love to Dream swaddle versus a regular swaddle. And actually, with what we just talked about, Rebecca, with the safety and sleep safety, and I mean, this goes not just to like more sleep, but it's sleep safety. It really is. You know, it's going to stop. You're not wrapping a blanket around a baby 5 times, overheating them, creating a situation where they can get out. It zips right on. It's super easy for them to just put on. And then, you know, there's also a zipper at the bottom, which is really great for nighttime changes. And this is the original. And I actually have all 3 stages in that link that I gave you. You'll be able to click through and see all 3 stages. Make sure you go look at stage 3, the new stage 3.
It's awesome, isn't it?
Awesome.
I love it.
Awesome. You'll be able to see that in the messages that I gave you, all right? But there's also stage 2, which is the 50-50, that where the arms will completely zip off, so you can transition them into more of a sleep sack, all right? And both of them are great. I'm just going to give you a quick video here. I hope this doesn't screw things up again, but here's a quick video. Here we go. Ready? Hold on. Why can't I find what I'm looking for? Okay. Ends very quickly there. It's very abrupt. But you got the point, okay? You can see that it's difficult. And I know some of you are like, oh, I'm better at swallowing than that. But for new parents, you know, dads, grandparents, moms, you know, and babies can be little Houdinis at night. And that's very dangerous to get that blanket over their face. So, and so swaddling, although we know it really helps them to sleep well, it can also be a hazard that you need to have the right tools. And the Love to Dream Swaddle Up is just one of those tools that I will keep on referring and recommending because it's fantastic. And if you've never touched one before, they're so soft and so well made. I mean, it's one of those things that you don't know until you actually have it in your hand. Even like these quilted ones for winter.
Yeah, they're lovely.
They're so nice. They're just so nice. So, you know, please make sure that you entered. Make sure that you clicked on the link or you typed the word new baby here and move through to get your entry in. You can also check out all the different stages right there in the link that I gave you. You'll also have access to Simply Breastfeeding class, Rebecca's Sleep Academy, and my private Facebook group. I hope you're all joining the group. We're all in there, including Rebecca. We're all in there, and there's just amazing conversations going. I'm just so impressed with all the advice and support that everybody's giving. It's such a nice community with so many moms that are just so like supportive. And that's sometimes rare, very rare to find on the internet. So I'm very proud of all of them. Very, very proud of all of them. Yay. Do we have time for one more sleep question, Rebecca?
Yeah, we do. I don't have a soccer match to watch today.
Let me see. Let's see here. There is a question from Megan. Okay, and Megan said, my 4-month-old still wakes at night every 2 hours to breastfeed. Hold on, I'm going to bring up her question here. 4-month-old still wakes at night every 2 hours to breastfeed and screams when I put her back in her co-sleeper next to my bed. I can't comfort her when she wakes. She has to breastfeed and go back to sleep. I work full time and I'm at my wit's end. Any advice for Megan?
That is exhausting. I think we can all agree that when you've been doing this for at least 4 months, because remember those late stages of pregnancy, you weren't getting great sleep then. You weren't getting great sleep then either. Okay, waking, as we know, is completely normal. A couple of things that I would suggest that may help you get some longer stretches, and not that when she's laying down that she's then instantly waking up, because that just kind of delays the whole falling back asleep process. So one of them would be to make sure that you are burping her well during the night. This is something that we generally do not do because baby will fall asleep whilst feeding, and then we're kind of like, okay, laying back down. If there is a bubble of air in the tummy, then that gets uncomfortable, and then that could be sort of a wake up, and then that can set you up for the entire night. Because that's there. Then they're going to need to feed more because they're uncomfortable. They're feeding more. You're putting more milk on top of that bubble. It's just getting even more uncomfortable. So burping through the night, I think, is really, really important. Some children do not need it, honestly, but I'd probably say most do. So give it a go and see if this makes a difference. Another thing I would do is you could potentially be trying to lay her down if she's comfortable and if you're good to go. You've got those burps up a little bit too soon. So when she's awake, she's feeding and she's falling asleep. She's falling asleep and you're like, quick, I'm going to lay her back down. The movement of you laying her back down is going to bring her up into a lighter sleep. And then boom, she's wide awake. Help me, I'm wide awake. I need help getting back down to sleep. Yeah. So if you can, feeding her back down to sleep, even if she's stopped feeding, letting her get down into a bit of a deeper sleep, and then doing the really slow transition as you're getting her back into the co-sleeper. She's still going to wake up a little bit, but she's not then got to that wide awake point. You then place your hands on her as she's there, and you could jiggle a little bit, pat, shush, whatever you need to do, just to make sure that she's going back down into that deeper sleep. So just waiting, even just a couple of minutes more, can help you then with the transfer, because it may be that transfer then is more effective. It works. You're able to transfer without her waking up. And it may be then that she's actually able to get a longer stretch because it was a bit smoother. The whole falling asleep was a little bit smoother. It goes against kind of everything that you think with those middle of the night wake ups, quick, get back to sleep as quickly as possible. That's then when you're not doing the burping. That's when you're then just laying her down as quickly as possible. And it's kind of, yeah, of course, it's a no-brainer you're going to do that. But actually spending that time helping initially to sleep may help you get that, not those full starts, that when you lay her down, she's able to sleep. Because you didn't have the full starts and she's comfortable, she then may be able to get longer than 2 hours, a longer stretch of sleep there as well.
Yeah. No, very sound advice. It's exactly what I would have said too. You know, the burping is one of those things that too often it's left out, as if breastfed babies don't need to burp. And that, you know, it will not wake her up all the way. It will keep her sleeping longer when you do put her back down. So you're right, Rebecca, it's so true. And then the other piece of it too is, you know, like you were saying, when you lay them down, that's what triggers that startle reflex. Having them in the love to dream where their arms are not loose will minimize that startle reflex as well, so that they don't get startled and wake themselves back up. And, you know, I mean, why are they doing it? They want to feel close to you. They want to feel snuggled. It's how they feel safe. And that makes total sense. Like, they've just spent 9 months, all they know is the feeling of being held tight. That's life inside the uterus, planet uterus, I call it, right? And they all came from the same planet. They all came from the same place. It's one common thing that all babies have, is that, you know, their first experiences of life as we know it happens in the uterus, and it's the same characteristics that go on inside of there for every baby. And so when moms talk about, my baby hates to be confined, my baby hates to be swaddled, my baby hates to not have their arms free in the beginning, I always find that to be I always challenge that just a little bit. What I find is that they go into these swaddle blankets that are not fully secure. The baby starts to move, which is what they do. They get their arms out, okay? And now the interpretation of that is they want to be free. But they're not sleeping well, but they want to be free.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's not that they necessarily don't like the feeling of the confinement. It's that they need something that is going to work. They need something that's going to help them to keep their arms in a way that is, they're pushing against something. And very often, you're right, that they don't like to have their arms down. They want to have their arms up, but they still want to feel that sense of confinement. And that's why the combination of arms up but confined with a swaddle up is the best combination. This is what they do in the womb. This is what they do in the uterus. The hands are here. I've never seen an ultrasound picture where arms are straight down at the sides.
No.
This is not how they are. They're like this. Their feet are curled. There's pressure on their belly from their knees being up on their belly, which on the love to dream, you've got that nice tightness around the torso. There's room for that. They want to feel that. And yet their arms are confined and up by the ears.
Yeah.
Yep. All good things. All good things. Rebecca, this hour went really quick.
It did.
We're going to be together this month. I don't know if I know. I can't wait. Just in like a few weeks, we're going to all be in Chicago. We're actually going to be there with Love to Dream. We're going to be with Love to Dream. We're going to be doing our breast sleeping Q&A with them, and we're going to be at their booth, and we're all going to have a party together and have so much fun. And I hope if you're in the Chicago area that you can come and join us there and come say hi. I don't know about you, Rebecca, but I love hugs. Like, anyone who is here, who, if you see me, like, don't ever hesitate, come up. It is the highlight for me, is to meet any one of you in person, because we don't get to do that very often. So if you see me, come say hello. And then we'll also be in LA in November together.
We will.
We're gonna have a fun year. Fun rest of the year. It's already.
I know. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be fun. And I see Anita from Breast Support Pillow here. I want to do a shout out to one of my favorite products on the planet, the Breast Support Pillow. If you have not seen this product, this Breast Support Pillow that makes hands-free nursing like so much easier. You need to go check her out. Go right onto Facebook and like her page and go look at her product. It's amazing. I have it on here all the time. And I see her here and I'm just blowing kisses to her too. Okay. So Rebecca, thank you once again. And we will be back. We'll be in Chicago. We'll probably live stream when we're there. And
of course,
we'll be back at the end of the month for our next breast sleeping Q&A. Everybody have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your summer. And we'll see you in the private group. Okay. Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.